Baruch Hashem, Tesmar Cheshvan Tov Shin Pei Dalet. We started the Maimer Vayelech Ishma Beis Levi to figure out or to discuss what is this Madrega of Eish Shalamayla, which is shaykh to the Nefesh Bahamas. So we started yesterday discussing the mashal of the Brias HaMalachim. We started also discussing the difference between the Ziv HaShemesh, the Bittul Ziv HaShemesh B'Shemesh, and the Koyach HaPoyel B'Nifel and Akeli, where the Ziv HaShemesh is the idea of Ischachos, and it always needs its mucker, and it's always connected to it. And the Ur of Chayes Veliki is similar to that in two Eifanim. In the Eifa number 1, that the Ha'ara Lekis always, that the Nevraim always need the Ha'ara Lekis to never become their own Metzias, and that the Ha'ara Lekis is never chaser, it's shleimus, never lacked. Shleimus does not need the Nevraim for its completion, and the fact that Nevraim exist now don't add anything to the Eibishter. We'll start towards the end of Amud Kuf Mem, and we'll start today Kuf Mem Alef, Kuf Mem Beis, but we'll see here. But Zeh Yuvan Mashakasuv Hanoita Oizen, the one who planted an ear, Halo Yishma, would he not hear? Im Yotzer Ayin, if he creates an eye, Halo Yabit, he will not see. Obviously, the Eibishter that creates all these ears and eyes, of course he can see and hear. It's wondrous. Who is this person that is silly, that will say, someone who makes an ear, Lo Yishma will not hear. We need a pasuk to take away the svara. Of course, if I can make ears, I can also hear, or I can relate to the idea of hearing. And the idea is, someone might want to say, Kivon, since the Eibishter is much higher, man, Ephraim from creations, in Cain, there's no reason to even describe any sort of completion or any sort of benefit or any sort of maila which exists by Nivroim, which exists by creation, seeing with an eye, Shmiyas eyes, and hearing with an ear. Zel Malas and Nivroim. There's a mile of a creation. When the Eibishter, we shouldn't even describe these ideas. The Eibishter knows every single detail. So obviously it has the idea of hearing and seeing, right? Because if you're knowing things, at least the way we relate to it, through seeing and hearing, there's a difference in if it's something that's knowing, liyadua to something that's known. The yedeya, knowing is something that goes in and clothes itself in something else to understand it and know it. But yadua is not related to the thing I happen to know, right? Which comes from Bezeb Terror Dibra Maskal Erdana. Over there, Chalhavishman Esses Virs Atzilus, Ben Ashkacha Esses Virs Atzilus. In general, this is the difference of the Esses Virs Atzilus, which do go on being Slavish, the Esses Virs Atzilus, which are not Slavish, which comes from Kmא-kmב. Fine. So, L'cha'ira, back to what we said earlier, I would think, what do I need to retire the Eibishter's Shleimus through seeing and hearing, which is shaykh to Nivroim? Comes the pasuk and says, "Ki umnom emes nachan adavar tzaka true shaboying niskav u'mereim levade vein arich leklal." The Eibishter is in God's under heaven, and nothing is comparable to him at all. Kuli kamei kalei chashem, everything before the Eibishter is as if it's not considered at all. Nevertheless, ki manchu yoytzeru b'yei b'chinas ayin v'oizen, since the Eibishter does create the levels of eyes and ears, the completion, any sort of shleimus that is accomplished through these levels, pshita, it's obvious, obviously they're included and they exist by the Eibishter as well, they're in a much greater, wondrous way. What does this mean? What's this greater way? So the Rebbe gives an example. The levels of ears and eyes, they're the malachim which are called the masters of watching, the eyes of Hashem, the ears of Hashem, which comes from Uba Atzilus, and if we go on the level of Atzilus, which is higher than the Malachim, Hemchinas Chachma Bina, Shetikraim Re'io Shmiya, like we said earlier in the idea of Reuven and Shimon, that Chachma and Bina are Chesed and Gvura, but here we're talking about specifically Chachma and Bina, are the levels of Re'iyah and Shmiya. To call the Shaykh Ba'ur V'ziv Me'id Yisrael, it's all Shaykh in the light from the Eibishter. The Bezeh Davke Shaykh Mitzvah Asveris Chachma Bina, only in the light and the Ziv, the shine of the Eibishter, Shaykh the levels of Chachma Bina. K'may-k'may. So l'cha'ora, they're not Shaykh in the Eibishter himself, but he says no. Since the light and the shine of the Eibishter, like we said by the sun, it's included in the Eibishter. That's why we also have these Eser Spheres in the Eibishter, which we call the Eser Spheres Hagnuzis, to conceal 10 spheres which are in the emanator in the Eibishter. They are very, very high. Like it said in somewhere else, in other places, ha'hefresh, bein Eser Spheres Hagnuzis, the difference between these hidden Eser Spheres, Eser Spheres Hagluyos, the revealed ones, shachiluku be'etzem mitzius, and the differences in actually the way they exist. She'enim v'chines mitzius mamash, Eser Spheres Hagnuzis are not in actual existence, v'chines iskal shalom, and also the way they're combined one from another. Fine. And this is what we're trying to say earlier, that any sort of completion, that any sort of shleimus that can exist from a ziv, from a shine, is also included in the Eibishter. This is where we come and we compare creation of creations the same way a shine comes out of the sun. There's a third thing. The way the creations are which does not exist, where the sun is nullified, the rays of the sun are nullified the sun. The creations, and so do the malachim, the life. When it comes to make something alive, it's not any relevance to the Eibishter, besides for the fact that in general, anything that's limited has no level of comparison to the Eibishter, their actual existence, are non-comparable at all, non-comparable at all to their source. Meaning to say, this that they're created in a way of yesh ma'ayin is be'ein aroich, is in a way that it's not comparable at all. It's totally different levels, different degrees of separation. When we talk about the nullification of the rays of the sun to the sun, we cannot say that it's in aroich. We cannot say that it's not comparable at all. At the end of the day, they're both limited. The shine, the rays of the sun, is very similar to the source of the sun. It's not in a way that it's not comparable at all. This is the excitement that the malachim have, and the excitement that the Merkava, that is called the face of the lion. Besides the fact that they realize that their entire existence is only from an aura of the Eibishter, that's what's say from the actual aspects of the Eibishter is Kaddish and Muvdal, totally separated and holy. Furthermore, every single one sees and can comprehend its own hiddenness, its own Helen. It's exactly the way it's in Atzilus. Malchus Tatzilus, through the level of Malchus Tatzilus, the Kol Kulam, which includes them all. Atzilus is full of the levels of Dem Tzmechai, even though Atzilus is higher than Yesh. But he says no, it includes all of this. Nikra Malchus, the way we call Malchus, B'Shem Sela Ve'even. Sometimes Malchus is called a rock, a stone or a rock. L'fam B'Shem Afar, sometimes it's called earth. L'fam B'Shem Shoshana, sometimes it's called a rose, Chin Tapuach, or an apple. Because Malchus of Atzilus includes in it as a source all these chayas, all the rays in life, which will be drawn out of Atzilus, in order to create and keep alive all these details. Because the rays are included in the source. The Yeshba, in the Ziv, in the rays, which are included in the source, has Kol Pratim Madrigas, all the levels, all the details, which are later going to be revealed. Same way it has all the details that will come later. It has Kol Pratim Madrigas HaMalachim, all the levels the details of the levels of malachim klum and makarim, they're included in their source. And what is its source again? So we see there's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of of all the different lights that come out of the Eibishter and the creations that come out. Yesh ba'amor atzmi is in the actual existence of the source, which exists in Malchus Atzilus. Mizeh. So from the Malachim realize this idea that number one, they're just a Ara and still they're this whole Malachim. Number two, all these artists, hundreds of thousands, are all included in Malchus Atzilus. Mizeh mispalim ma'od, they get very excited. V'aynu mashi tzavusa. That their creation is in this kind of a way, they're not any existence to themselves, they constantly have to be renewed, like rays of sun. And even more, all of them in their characteristics, I think Tzivyonim is characteristic, exist in this level of Malchus Atzilus. Nothing will lack if they're not there, because they're all existing there. And there's no completion that happens through them being there. It's much higher when it's in Malchus Atzilus. God Himself moved the Lumeroimim, is separated and uplifted in comparison from anything creation. And there's no difference at all. So this is the Malachim's Espilos. So we asked earlier, what do we need to discuss? What do we even need to mention? The Mila, the Malachim. Let's get the excitement. Let's praise the Eibusha from the excitement of the Neshamas, which are higher than the excitement of Malachim. So we say this is the Zbanis the Malachim. Zbanis the Malachim is that number one, they're only existing from Ara. Number two, that any of their existence exists also without them, because it's all there in Malchus Atzilus. Through this contemplation, in the excitement of the high Merkava of the Malachim L'mayla, you could draw down you could draw down the high love, the Merkava al Nefesh Hamis Gamkin, the high love of the Malachim, also the Nefesh Hamis, since it came from there. Like to separate itself from your physical desires, to yuchlan, should be consumed, your warmth, with the Eibishter fire, the fire l'mayla. The sheet spoil. You should get excited. Be an excitement of flames of fire la Hashem al derech eish malachim, like the fire of the malachim, which is the eish shalamayla. So only when we have the eish shalamayla, when we have the love of the Merkava, and we are misbunded in the same misbundedness that they have, and we realize that we're also in the same existence and the same ayim of the matziv, we could now draw down this av of Merkava, this eish shalamayla, also on the Nefesh Hamis, because the Nefesh Hamis can also relate to this. This is the idea of sacrificing yourself. We said in the last mimer already that the real avodah of the nefesh, the real avodah of the nefesh likis is to be makriv the nefesh b'ham. It's like a carbon. It's not a tefillah. But here, when you have this isbonus, we also see that this is the idea of akrava. We're mispal b'rish be'esh shenichla al nefesh b'hamis, to consume the nefesh b'hamis b'fchinas ha'esh ta'aryeh, the achil korbanin. It's consumed in the level of the fire of the lion, like the mizbeach which eats karbanis, through the Zbend of the Nefesh Elikis. Via dua. What does this mean? Ikar akrava, the main idea of sacrificing the fats in the blood. Nefesh Hamis has the same idea. Chelev, the idea of fats in the physical enjoyment. Shemehem boim achelev ashamnunis. From there, the fats come. A good thought could physically make you feel better. The idea of a taiva could physically add to your fats. Blood is the idea of boiling. The strength of the Nefesh Hamis, like anger. Which specifically come from the level of Eish in the Nefesh Hamis. Also pleasures and enjoyments are also Misar Eish. That's a warmth of enjoyment. The general idea of Nefesh Hamis is Misar Eish. And generally comes from the level of Eish. Inen chelav adam who im tayves at hanugim and bekuros and reduce beish u'tich sadam baza. Chelav adam is a difference if the pleasures come from warmth or from cold, but both two different ways of having taivas. But when you sacrifice your chaylev and your dam, you're sacrificing both the fanim of taivas. That one doesn't. That either if it's coming inside chamimus, or if it's coming chamimus, which is dam, or clearness, which is chaylev, it's all given over, all makiv, all given over to the Eibishter. All this through your zbainanus and through your Gigia nichla be'esh shalamayla. It gets consumed and included in esh shalamayla. Shaladei Gigia through your hard work, v'hizbainus, and your contemplation, ba'amokas hadas, in depths of the mind, ba'avodas hamalachim, in the work of the malachim, v'hizbainus shalaim, and their contemplation of v'hizbailus v'hizlavos, their excitement. Meir milamayla, you could draw down and shine. Milamayla al nefesh habamis, the nefesh habamis, ha'ora ma'ira avad malachim al yenim. To have a light, to shine the light that the malachim get of love, that the malachim get as well. The ismetek, to separate yourself from all pleasures, and you also get excited with an excitement of fire to the Eibishter. Over zeh gufa, in this bindinus, in this avodah itself, there's a fire from below, and a fire from above. It's your hard work, your toiling in this contemplation. That you toil in what the malachim contemplate, and the malachim look into, and the malachim get excited about, and you get excited as well. The is now after you did your agia. It's kind of a gift that the Eibishter gives you. The Eibishter is mamshech l'mayla, the avodah that the malachim have as well. In the second Beis Hamikdash, the Eish L'Mayla wasn't there anymore in the Mizbeach. There was no Eish L'Mayla. This is Gemara the Yuma. Afal Pikein HaKarban Kasha. The carbon still kasha, the Eish L'Mayla. From here someone could learn. Even if you do not get this flame of fire from the level of the lion that comes out to you, you do not feel the love that the malachim get. As long as you toiled, at least you did a mitzvah to bring the fire shalamata from yourself, from the hedyot, from the simpleton. To look at the greatness of Hashem, to the zimra, and to contemplate the bittul the malachim. It will awaken in your mind fire and excitement, or maybe just an excitement in your mind. And this is the fire from the simpleton, because you're not getting the Eish L'Mayla, it's the Eish L'Mato. It's a separate concept. Lavada Eish L'Mayla b'chinas Aryeh, Pnei Aryeh, besides for the Ava, the Pnei Aryeh, this Ava Samalachim that we said is going to give down. But it will also come from your bittul of the Malachim, because that's the source of the Nefesh V'Amis where you come from, and Al Kapanim we're going to have this Yigia, so don't worry about the Eish L'Mayla. The carbon is still kosher, and you still have to have this is beinus, and it's still very much worth it to do it. So we kind of asked, what do we need the bittul of the malachim? So here we see out through the bittul of the malachim, you can mamshech the Eish L'Mayla, which is the av of the malachim, which that's something which you could get through the idea, through understanding the spile of the malachim, that on the one end they're just ara, and on the other end they don't do any shinui. Like we said, like al derek the bittul hashemesh b'shemesh, and we said the third bittul over here that there's no ein areich b'chlal, a much higher type of bittul which exists only by the shemesh. Omnam b'chinos bittul zed the nefesh v'amis. This nullification which exists in the nefesh v'amis mashanichlo, that you're consumed by Eish L'Mayla, the ayadach korban, and that you get consumed in the fire of the lion that eats up korbanis. It's only a level of bitla yesh, only holding yourself back from avedis. General, because again, this is a bitla malachim. The general nullification of malachim is bitla of shemban. Malachim's excitement is that they relate, or they see, they can grasp the bittul. Sorry, derechayis. That's included in their source. What is the source of malachim? The lower level of mother, which is the source of biyah, like we said earlier, that malchus is called all these different names because it's koil and it's all the nivraim. And then it's the next, once they have the hasaga of the chayus, they have the next idea of hasaga that they see, and atzvus and sefer separated, and that the shemoy, this actual level of malchus is way higher than all of this. So it's all again in the level of Malchus. Of the Malachim the only intellect and grasp. Malchus levad. They can only grasp the level of Shimcha. Shame, which is the idea of Malchus, right? Since the Malachim only grasp and relate to the level of Ban, we see that the Chais are now lifted on the Kisei. What's Kisei? Case Aleph. Pirush Aleph is Shem Ma b'milu Alfin. It's the Aleph is the Shem Ma when you fill it up with Alephs, right? B'chinas Adam, which is the level of Adam. The Kisu, the B'chinazu, the covering case of Aleph, the covering of Aleph, the covering of this Shem Ma is Shem Ban. And that's what the Chacham relate. That's what the Malachim can relate to. They're uplifted to this level of case Aleph, the covering of Aleph, the covering of Ma, again, which is Ban. If you do a dabir bittul the Shem Ban, the nullification of the level of Ban, who bittul yesh levat, right? Bittul yesh levat. Ban is lower than Ma, lower than Chachma. It's only a bittul of Ayesh. So again, when we go on the step of davening, the idea of karbanis, right? Feel button karbanis tiknum. When you remark yourself, the brichish kirshma or the bittul of the malachim, you reach this level of shemban. From this avodah, you can reach the higher level in krishma likolel, to be consumed and included ba'odam she'ala kisei, to get to the level of the adam which is sitting on the chair, higher than the case Aleph. B'chinas Pnimius, to Adam b'gematria Ma, Adam is the level of Ma, you now could be consumed in this level of Ma itself. B'chinas HaBitl b'Metzius, now you reach a little Bitl b'Metzius. Hanasa deis b'inus ba'atzmus erin seif shalman b'chinas Makar L'Olmus, you look at the level of Atzmus, which is now not anymore Malchus, which is the Makar L'Olmus, rather you look at Atzmus, which is higher than Makar L'Olmus, higher than the source of the world. And you look at the b'chinas of Havaya Echad, the level of the only Hashem, Havaya Echad, the Kriyashma. Okay, now, like we said earlier in the Maimer of Yehuda Ata, Shizel B'chinas Rishpei Eish, this is the flames of fire, the Neshamas. B'chinas Shalheves Yudkei Mamash. V'zel Amitis, this is the reality, B'chinas Eish Lamayla, B'chinas Eish Havai, the Nefesh L'kis, the fire of the Nefesh L'kis. V'ashkas B'tkunei Zayar, that is Eish, V'is Eish, there is fire, and there is fire, is Eish, the loiba Eshavaya, there's a fire which is not part of Eshavaya, and this is the fire of the Malachim, and the Malachim which are only in Shemban, Shem Elikim, Knes Malchus, Hashayach L'Ilmas, the level which is not part of Shem Havaya, the lower level, that's again, Makar L'Ilmas, the B'derech Klav, Knes Eish Lamata. So now, we said earlier that you get Avrav the Malachim, so that's Eish Lamayla, but no, even this is Eish Lamata. If it's Eish to Eshavaya, you have the level of the Eish, of Havaya, B'chinas Shalheves Yudke, the flame of God, Shem Atos and Ensoif, B'chinas Eish Havaya, B'chinas Shem Ma, Kmא-kמב, B'chinas Kol Mamadaka, Hulamayla Mezed, there's a higher level of Kol Mamadaka, which comes with Keter, Babir, that's Carbon Elach, V'yesh Limited Zel, B'chinas Avarabo, which is a higher level. So we said over here that this is level of Bittul B'Metzius, and then you get to the higher level of Avarabo. And there's a minor nafkamina here where this may be just hinted, but we said earlier that you do Eis Beinanus, in the Yigia and there's been some Malachim. And then you get Amshacha of the Ava of the Malachim, and that's the Eish Lamayla. But we're saying over here that even the Eish of the Malachim is only Eish Lamata. And then you get, in Kriyashma, you get to the Eish Lamayla. So remember, we started in the Maimer discussing what is the level of Eish Lamata, what is the level of Eish Lamayla. Possibly we're introducing here that Eish Lamayla is not the Ava of the Malachim like we were saying in the previous page. Rather, it's the Ava of the Eish Lamayla, which you get to, it's the Ava, it's the Havaya, they reach to the Bittul B'Metzius, they reach to in Kriyashma itself, after there's been the Malachim, but this is not clearly mentioned in the Maimer, so Yesh La'ayin B'zeh still. Uve'esh Zeh, in this fire, Nisraf v'nichla nefesh b'hamis l'gamri, you totally burn and consume the nefesh b'hamis, Chines Bittul B'Metzius. V'zeh Abir the Shema, so maybe not, because here we're talking about already a kiloyin of the nefesh b'hamis, we're talking about earlier of Amshacha, I don't know. Think about it. The Shem Ma cleanses anything that was already cleansed through Shem Ban. and becomes an oila, and it goes up to the Eibishter, B'chinas Bittul Gamrei, total bittul, total nullification. So al kapanim we have an understanding of what the bittul the malach, what that is benenus the malachim achieves. That through this benenus the malachim, how it's a bittul, how the nivroim are all bottled to the Eibishter, just like the bittul ziv hashemesh v'shemesh, and even more than that, because even if ein haroich, through that you could reach Eishel Amayla, Avarabu, which the Eibishter gives to you the Avad the Malachim, not Avarabu, the Avad the Malachim, and even more than that, you can reach a bittul b'metzias in Krishma itself. Tomorrow we'll continue the levels of the Malachim and the consumption of the Nefesh HaMahamis. A guten Tag.